We are getting a little diesel here from the marathon before we head down to the Winters family down in Ohio. They're like family to us, can't wait to get there. Always a great spot to hunt, we love it. And the pre-rut should be starting. It's a cool morning here in northern Michigan, so I'm sure it's gonna be cool down there, at least compared to what it has been. Get down there, try to get a big boy down for you as soon as we get done with our marathon diesel.
When we arrived at the lodge, it was still pretty early, so we put our Nomad gear on and our hunter safety systems and head out to the stand in hopes that we could get a buck on the ground on the first night.
Well, we made it to Ohio about an hour ago, and we are already in the stand for our first night. I'm not really sure what to expect yet. We're kind of just getting the feel of things still again, but it's been a pretty good season so far, so hopefully we can continue the good hunting here in Ohio.
It was surprisingly warm on our first night, so there was little movement.
First deer just stepped out. It just did a nice sized doe. So we got about an hour or so left of light. So hopefully a nice buck will step out for us.
Unfortunately, neither of us saw a big boy on the first night, but it felt so good to get back in the stand and see some deer. That night, we cooked some steaks on the fire with the Winter family and talked about past adventures. One of my favorite parts about deer camp is the camaraderie. Just sitting around a campfire talking about past adventures, talking about what we hope to come this season is one of my favorite parts of hunting and just hanging out in the outdoors.
Shorts is getting close to the fire. All right, we brought down elk from Michigan. I drew a once-in-a-lifetime tag up there, so I thought we'd bring the back straps down with us and cook them down here on an open fire. Look at that.
Well, I don't know about you, but that made my mouth water. I think we'll take a break and go get some food. But don't go anywhere. When Big Boys TV returns, we head back to the stands in hopes we get a monster whitetail in Ohio. Welcome back. When we left, our first night in Ohio had ended. We headed out to the same stands the next morning and didn't see much, but we have a cold front moving in, so we're hoping that the bucks will be up and active this afternoon.
Oh, we're getting all set up in this new spot that they just set up. We came up with my honor safety system lifeline because it's so important when you're going up and down these trails to stay safe. And so we're just hoping that a nice buck will come through this spot. He said there's lots of really nice buck in this area, so hopefully it'll be a good night. We're out here tonight on Halloween, and we just had our first buck come out. Just a small rack buck, but this is a really nice spot, so we're hoping to see a nice buck yet today. I got my PSC ready, and we're just waiting for the big boy to step out.
We were finally starting to see some rut activity. The smaller bucks were out and chasing does, which got some of the bigger bucks to finally step out. Couple decent bucks just came out. Neither of them, unfortunately, are what I'm looking for. So they're not close enough to even shoot anyway, but it's gonna be tough to watch these bucks walk by me if they are close. One of the bucks started coming right to us. We knew he wasn't quite what I was looking for, but we got ready just in case. This buck runs off and outsteps the other buck behind him, and he was bigger than we thought. And he was coming right to us. I was still unsure whether this buck was a shooter or not, but at the same time, I was ready to see a buck on the ground. As he got closer, it was time to make a decision. Stay tuned to see if I decide to shoot this buck. When we left, I had a decent buck coming right to me, and it was time to make a decision. Let's see what happens. This buck ends up making the decision for me and moves off. Let's see how my dad's hunt is going.
We're in a unique situation here. We're in no good big trees here, so we're in a ground blind made out of wire, and then he let the weeds grow in around it. Now we just cut it out. Hopefully we're not cutting out poison ivy, but we got an uncut cornfield up here they left stand, and so we're hoping these deer come right along between the cornfield and the woods where they feel safe. It's kind of a unique spot. I've never hunted in for deer in such an opening like this, but we'll try it out and see if it works. I'll spin the camera around here so you can see what it looks like.
Towards the end of the night, they started to see some deer. And a nice buck steps out, and all he has to do is make his way towards my dad. Unfortunately, the buck goes the opposite way, and that ends our second night. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we jump to our last day where my dad has an opportunity on a mature buck. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we've been in Ohio hunting whitetail and have had no success. For the next 10 to 12 days, yes, 10 to 12 days, we sat in various locations, traveled all the way to Kansas and then back to Ohio. We were ready to be home, we were exhausted, but we were back in Ohio for the last day, and we were just praying to God that we would see a mature buck.
Not a whole lot is going on, people. We've been hunting for 16 days in Ohio and then Kansas and back in Ohio. And we are leaving today after this sit, and I didn't get anything.
Let's see how my dad's last night in the stand went.
We decided to move to a new spot, and we're right in the corner of a wheat field here. These deer have really been coming in to the green right now. There's alfalfa around the corner where Jada's sitting. And I'm sitting here on this nice green wheat field here in Ohio. We just had an 8-point come out, pretty good one. Came out probably trailing a doe and then went back in, then came back out and went back in. This field should fill up tonight as it gets dark. We're right down to the crunch time. We've hunted 15 days. If we don't get something tonight, we're probably heading home tonight after dark to try to hunt in Michigan.
My dad was seeing a lot of activity. All he needed was for the right buck to step out and come to his decoy. They had a good buck step out, but he went the other direction. Right behind him was a mature 8-point coming straight to the decoy. But my dad had a problem. There was a farmer tilling his field right behind them, and as soon as that farmer got close, the deer spooked. Luckily, the buck didn't run far and he turned around and came back to the decoy. Now it was time for my dad to get ready for the shot.
He was coming right at me, and I had to take him right through the front. And it sounded good. It sounded like he crashed in there. He's a big 8, real wide 8 with short tines. And the landowner said that he wanted him out of here if he's big and mature, and he's still an 8-point. It sounded like he crashed in there.
We let the buck sit overnight and we went to look for him the next morning.
Deer. Congratulations. That's awesome. He's an Arab deer. Yes, long snout. Look at how long the snout is right there.
That's way further than I figured he would have.
I know, I thought he crashed.
You got the lungs, though.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
And probably just one.
I would say.
Yeah. Look how big he is. This is why we kill this deer, you guys. We were here on this last night was our last night to hunt, and we were gonna go home after if we didn't kill. And this one came out, and Xavier told me there was a old 8 in here with short tines that needed to die if it came out on our last night. And he came out right to the decoy just like he was supposed to. Amazing hunt. We had a blast. I mean, it was just textbook last night.
We were so relieved to have a buck on the ground. We took pictures, celebrated the kill, and headed home. Thanks for watching, and make sure and tune in next week. Also, stay up to date with everything we do in the outdoors on social media and bigboystv.com. Oh, I almost had it. I forgot what I was supposed to say, but I just made it up. Oh. Yeah, that's all.